Hey friends, welcome to the Wildflower Within podcast. My name is Amanda Dobson David, and I am your host. I consider myself a soul gardener and a self-love alchemist. I have made it my mission in this world to help women understand what it means to flourish in their soul's essence and allow that to permeate through the cells of their being so that they may actually feel the truth of their authenticity shine every moment of their day. Now, I'm going to ask you a question and just sit with it for a second. I'll give you a moment after I ask you. What does your voice taste like? Work with me on this one. What does your voice taste like? Now, some people might be trying to find a logical, very 3D answer to this, like it tastes like the coffee I had this morning, or it tastes like what I had for lunch, or it tastes like a food. But I'm going to offer you an opportunity within this conversation to see your voice as, and feel your voice and taste your voice as a form of freedom. The past few days, I've been really moving through a lot of energy as I'm continuing down the path of opening my services, my coaching to women online. It's very exciting, and it's really allowing me that space. I'm giving myself the space to move through a lot of the stuff that I've denied myself as being real, as being something that I want, as it even being a possibility for me. And a few days ago, I'll tell you about it. A few days ago, I guess it was yesterday. This happens almost every day, though, where I make a video about something that I find really important and then I don't share it. For example, yesterday, I created a video that I did not share around Mother's Day, the origins of Mother's Day, and also us being a portion of this population are people of privilege and don't even understand that the amount of money that we're spending, we can have an idea as to how much money we're spending on Mother's Day. And I'm not saying don't celebrate your mother, but there are so many people who are not from a place of privilege and are not in a space where they can actually thrive, and they're like barely surviving, and they're barely being able to provide for their kids, and they're doing absolutely anything they possibly can as a mother. They're literally putting themselves on the line to make sure that their child has some form of future. And just to give you a number, now that I've opened it, I'm just going to open it briefly. And now that I've actually said it out loud, I will share with you what I said. I looked up across 10 years how much money they've estimated we've spent. I'm not sure if it was specific to the US or if it was specific to the world, like a global number, but regardless, across 10 years, or maybe 11 years, because it was 2011 to 2021, we've spent an estimated $265 billion just on Mother's Day. But how many of you have the cards that you got 5 years ago? How many of you have the cards that you got last year or this year? Do you still even have it? Or you're like, oh, that's nice, and then you throw it in the recycling. Good for you. You recycled. This is what I'm talking about. The conversations that I want to be having are so deep. They open you up. open a space up for us to perceive our world in a different way, yet I stop myself. I halt myself from speaking. Whether it's because I don't feel like I can hold space for the conversation to continue. I know that I'm a person of privilege and I've been very ignorant to my own responsibility within this world, to the ways that I have perpetuated the cycle of disunity and separation on this planet. Maybe it was because I didn't have a plan. I just started researching into some charities, and I highly recommend you do your research. And not just take my word for it, but actually do your research, because you might be absolutely fucking shocked as to what you find. Yeah. But anyway, nevertheless, the point of this conversation. I was on my way to work. I was at work. I was at the till. I kept thinking, because I have a bunch of time in between people that come through. And I just started asking myself, what and why am I holding myself back? What is preventing me? Please, source, my think tank, please show me. Send me a message as to why I am holding myself back. And a message came through. While I was at work, this message came through. And this was a belief that had been held inside my body for over a decade. And this belief was, my mouth is always going to get me into trouble. Now, this is something that I have enough facts to prove it to be true. I have affirmed it through the reactions that I got when I didn't know how to communicate my feelings appropriately. I wasn't aware of how to self-regulate, or, my tone was snooty. I was being bitchy that day and I was taking it out on my parents, or I just didn't want to put up with being a teenager with parents. And, or I would share with my parents something that was going on regarding how I communicated, and it would almost be like a little inside joke for them that, oh, we told you so, your mouth will get you into trouble. It's going to get you into trouble. And as a result, I stopped wanting to consult about my feelings. I stopped wanting to take action on asking for those conversations. And at no point did I feel like there was a sit down and saying, hey, let's work on that. Let's work on your tone. Let's figure out how to resolve that, because you obviously have a lot to say and you're just having a difficult time sharing that with people. But I would say that I've lived in a very reactive environment, one that doesn't necessarily facilitate conscious conversations of that nature very often. And that's okay. I have learned so much by living through that, and I know that by me living through that specific experience, that this is a part of the collective, and that more women, more people have lived in that kind of an environment similar to that one. And I think the big thing, a lot of these little these leaves of different experiences that were hanging onto the branches, I felt like I was finally getting to the core, and that's the trunk belief, is that my mouth will get me into trouble. And how that played out, how that manifested, was I'm not telling people that I coach. I'm not telling people that I want to serve. I'm not telling people. And I'm not standing firm, so strongly firm in myself to say, yes, this is what I'm doing, and yes, I can help you. Yes, I want to help you. Yes, I want you to hold space for yourself in such a way that you can begin to understand yourself to the depth and degree that you have been desiring your whole life. big stuff. But my mouth is always going to get me into trouble, right? So here I'm creating a vision board or vision book, as Marissa Pierce suggested in one of the videos I watched from her. So I was going through and I had 2 magazines, right? And these magazines were at the bottom of my drawers. And these 2 bottom drawers, I've got 4 here. These 2 bottom drawers are just filled with notes, they're filled with notepads, they're filled with folders, they're filled with paper. Paper with me writing stuff all over them. And I realized while I was at the grocery store that, oh my God, all the money that I know I'm worthy of making because my wisdom is within me, I feel it so strongly, is all written down on these pieces of paper. Because my mouth will get me into trouble, not my words. How many of us have lived our lives in this state of silence? Where we feel like we can't speak our needs, we can't speak our wisdom, we can't speak our truth, we can't express all of our emotions to such a degree that we feel and have felt that it's safer to be in silence. It's safer to suffer. It's safer to feel isolated. Because at least we're doing it to ourselves. Nobody can do that to us. So I had to leave my till. I was like, this is huge. This is a huge revelation. This explains so much. I feel like this ties together so many little pieces that in isolation don't have that much value, aside from I've been doing them for a very long time. And now I can see how they're all connected. So I had to leave my till and I went into the bathroom of the grocery store and I just started weeping. I was audibly weeping. I was holding myself and just crying. Because all of these emotions and all of these memories kept coming up about different instances where I wanted to sit down and have conversation. I wanted to learn how to have deep, conscious, connective conversations with my parents, with other people. I loved that. Ask people who know me, friends who have known me, people who have met me. I love having conversations. I love having deep conversations. I'm not interested in small talk. I want to get to the root of things because I want to know the depths of people. I want people to see themselves as deep beings, as multidimensional beings. I've been doing this for years. This is just something that it just fuels my spirit. It just fucking nourishes my soul. It nourishes my soul knowing that there are people out there discovering the depths of their being and just how high they can rise as people within their own space, within their own world. I'm just going to have a sip of tea. Lemony. It's nice. But I have to, and I get to now, as I did last night, I went through all of these memories, all of these times where I had affirmed to myself that my mouth was always going to get me in trouble. And because this means so much to me, because this work has literally been my soul's call for years, and for so long I've had to find, and I've chosen to find very under the radar ways of expressing my soul to the world, expressing my truth to friends, sharing myself with the people around me. And I ask you what your voice tastes like, because have you ever tasted the fruits of your own freedom? There's so many of us that live in silence and are suffering in our silence because we think it's safe. We think telling our truth, speaking our needs, setting boundaries are what's dangerous about this world. But really, we're killing ourselves. We're crushing our souls by living in silence when we have so much love to say and share. And I know there may have been a number of people in your life where you felt you were doing a disservice to them by speaking, but you were doing a grander disservice to yourself and the world by not speaking what's true for you. And honoring that. Have you ever tasted the fruits of your freedom, and can you find that your voice is your freedom? When I'm all by myself, when I go for walks, when my parents go out for their walk, I am screaming. I mean screaming. I'm screaming till my throat aches. I am shaking. I am talking relentlessly. Almost to make up for lost time, for all the times that I didn't have the space and I did not know how to create sacred space to communicate my truth and to speak. For all the times that I did have to bite my lip because it would cause conflict, it would create too much commotion, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with the conversation surrounding the conflict because it wasn't constructive. It just was reactive, and then it would fall flat with nothing. And I had to go into my room and learn the lesson on my own. I had to figure it out. I was playing this game. I was playing a game for so long, and I'm done playing that game. Last night I lay here on my bed and I said, I felt so alone. I felt so unsupported. I felt sick and tired of the silence. Because I loved communicating. I loved talking. I loved sharing space with people and letting them share themselves with me. I love that. But when you have people in your life that don't necessarily want to venture down that path with you, but that's a part of who you are, it can be very easily misunderstood and taken as if you are not enough because they don't want to go down that path with you. So if you can close your eyes, if you're driving, don't do that. Wherever you are, can you take a brief moment to breathe into your body? I'll do it with you. So take a deep inhale through your nose. And then exhale. And breathe in from the belly. Allow your ribcage to expand up into the tops of your shoulders. And exhale. And just one more time, because 3 is a nice number. Inhale. What does freedom taste like to you? If freedom was a fruit, what would it taste like? What would it smell like? What would it look like? What would it feel like in your hands? What would it feel like moving around in your mouth? My mouth is salivating. I'm imagining the juiciest peach that is so ripe and so sweet and like slightly tangy. And it just melts in your mouth. Oh, yum. It is the most beautiful, organic, locally grown peach I've ever had. It was grown with so much love. It was nurtured. It was supported in its growth. It was cared for. It was nourished. And I have the utmost gratitude for this food and all the people who are a part of the journey in order for it to end up in my lap, in my mouth, going down my throat. And that's kind of what freedom feels like, isn't it? It's the best quality soul food that's been nourished and loved and supported and cared for in such a way that it now can do its job to nourish you and love you and care for you and support you. Give you the energy to do more in your life and be healthy. The kind of soul food that sustains you, and you end up craving it more than the processy stuff. Once you discover the truth of freedom, you can never go back to the false. You can never go back to fake sweetness. And the beauty of it, my friend, is that it's all within you. It's all possible. It just requires a level of awareness, but you also have to be willing to give yourself permission to want freedom, because the path to freedom is safer than the path of staying still and staying silent. You are destined to share your light and your love with the world. You have so much love in you to give. But the only reason you don't realize that is because you've not given it to yourself yet. You haven't felt what it's like to truly support yourself and feel safe in your relationship with yourself, so that you can actually hold space for others in the same way. And being able to communicate your words, your truth, your love with the world consciously. And this path of bringing more consciousness into our lives, embodying our soul's essence, is such a magical journey. And the fact that you want to do that from a place of love, and you don't want to escape anymore. You don't want to keep running away from yourself, because you know deep down you will always have to come back to yourself at some point. And you know that you're better off doing it now than waiting an extra 10 years. You know that the pain of staying in this paradigm that does not serve you is far greater than any pain of you unraveling the identifications that do not and have not supported your original intention of being all of yourself. So this is an exercise to practice and see, hey, what does my freedom taste like? And am I giving myself the chance to even know what it tastes like? Because you will have to journey inward. You will have to face yourself. You will have to face those illusions that you have locked inside your body because you believed that that's the safest option. And at some point it might have been. being young children, being young people, not really having an idea about what the world is all about. We're dependent on the people around us to help us, and it's very easy for us to want to blame others. Like, I could easily blame my parents for not teaching me about tone, not teaching me about conscious communication. But that doesn't serve me any further than me just letting out that feeling of like, yes, I want to hold you responsible. But that's something that in the past they didn't do, and I can't change that. But right now I'm aware of that. I'm aware, and I can grieve, and I can feel the sadness. I can feel all of those memories stirring in my body, and I can use specific practices to really bring that out. But it's ultimately my responsibility now to figure out and learn and go through life working around my needs, working around what I'm responsible for, and working out how can I evolve into the person that I know I've always wanted to be, but kept telling myself it wasn't safe to do so. My friends, your voice is your freedom. Now, am I saying to go and yell at everyone because you're angry? No, there's a way to hold space for yourself. Again, this is all about creating sacred, safe space. To hold yourself so that you can express the things that are going on. But it's more that you have an opportunity when energy comes through your body and you recognize it. There are other ways to go about it than unconsciously going through the patterns of your conditionings. There's so much more. There's so much more, and I know that you feel that. And when you feel it, but you can't figure out how to get there, it's fucking frustrating, isn't it? It's so hard because you're like, there has to be more to this life. There has to be more. And there is. This is the day and age in our world, my friends, my loves, my beautiful, beautiful friends, that we can venture inward. Take the path less traveled, and the path less traveled is you. And you will be the one who has to go through that path first. You will have to know yourself in such a way that you can navigate your world. And you know that you have your back through that. And I know for a lot of people pleasers and codependent people, codependent women, I can speak for myself that when I was investing a lot of my energy into making sure that everyone else's needs were met, that everyone, I don't know why, just as a side note, I don't know why, but I've got spider wieners coming through my head. I don't know why. Like, when you take a skewer for a barbecue, and then you cut the ends of the hot dog into 4, and then it kind of like curls out. I don't know why I thought of that. But anyway, it just popped up. Welcome to my brain. But the path less traveled within you you will have to know yourself. And for people pleasers, where we're spending a lot of our energy trying to understand everyone else, trying to fit everyone else's box, trying to meet everyone else's needs so that we ourselves don't have to experience the conflict. Nobody can leave us because we're fulfilling all of their needs. They have no reason to leave. They have no reason to go away because our intention is set on making sure that they're happy all the time. And as long as they're happy, we never have to face the fact that we're unhappy. Because they get to keep reminding us, we get to keep bouncing off of their energy of happiness and approval and satisfaction with us and what we're doing for them, that we ourselves never have to actually go through just how unsatisfied, unhappy we actually are. At least that's what happened for me. And if that resonates, great. And if it doesn't, that's great too. This is all experience, right? And if you've had a different experience, then just be aware that your experience is not the only one out there, but you're not alone in your experience either. We're all in this together, you know? We're all in this together. So I'm going to end it here, but yeah, my friends, like, your voice is your freedom. And a lot of the times, because we've not had the experience of really moving through all of our emotions, especially as teenagers, and we've not had the opportunity to learn how to communicate ourselves effectively, we're going to go through waves where we're experiencing and really sharing a lot of stuff and maybe just blabbing on for a while in order to give ourselves enough experiences to say, okay, my mouth is not going to get me into trouble. My mouth is actually my freedom. I actually feel better when I'm talking. I feel better when I'm sharing my truth. I feel better when I'm expressing my needs and I'm setting boundaries. I actually feel more aligned when I give myself the chance to have conversations with my inner critic and say, hey, our values are not in the same place. Let's figure out what your values are and what mine are, and let's sort out some stuff. We want to talk about communication. The root word of communication is communion. Or communion is of the same root word. So is community. But it's this interweaving, this energy exchange, right? Where you're coming together. And because we've silenced ourselves for so long and we've silenced our truth from ourselves, we've separated ourselves from our soul. And we stopped answering the call because it wasn't safe to answer it. And it wasn't safe to figure out how to use this body and clear the channel. We just have a difficult time. But it doesn't have to be like that. And you don't have to live like that. You don't have to. But it's your choice. So if you're feeling at all like, I want to know the truth of who I am, I invite you to get on my social media. My Instagram is Soulful Wildflower. DM me. I'd love to chat with you. And we'll just hop on a call and see what's going on with you, because enough is enough. And your enough is enough for you. And you're so wonderful. And I just want you to remember that. And I don't just mean remember it cognitively. I really mean I want you to embody the remembrance and the coming home. Because you're worthy of knowing just how worthy you are. And you're worthy of seeing this world in a way that really advocates for the love that's in your heart. And it's all within you. So if you identify as a people pleaser, you find that you're constantly stringing yourself out in order to feel like you're getting somewhere in this world, DM me, call me, let's have a chat. I've got some one-on-one coaching available. I'm open, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to serve and to help and to be here for you. I can't wait to support you. And I just love you to bits. I really do. I honor you. I appreciate you. Powers and blessings. Love and light, as everyone says. I want you to feel that, though. I want you to feel the depths of my love for you. And I want you to feel the depths of your love for you as well. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and we'll talk soon.